What's good, y'all? It's been too long. I know I don't go live enough. Don't get on me. I guess we had a big announcement today, huh? Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia. Good fight. Yeah, it's been announced. It was to me, it was the worst. It was the worst kept secret in boxing because you knew both of these kids really, really wanted this fight, and that they definitely made this happen. And shouts out to everybody involved. Shouts out to Al Haymon, Steven Espinosa, Lauren, that's Tank's manager. Shouts out to whoever's running the zone, Oscar De La Hoya, Ryan Garcia, whoever's managing Ryan Garcia. They made it happen. Despite the obstacles, they made it happen. Two different networks made it happen. Two different promotional companies, they made it happen. Shouts out to them. But I knew that I got news probably like, we'll say like a month ago, that they were going to take an interim bout, specifically because venues. They wanted a bigger venue, and the venue that they wanted wasn't available in January. That they're looking, you know, it's talks about that this may be in the stadium, and gave them more time to make it done, and they got it done. They got it done ahead of time, so now we already know what we're going to look forward to. A name that I was given as Tank's interim bout was Hector Luis Garcia. Now I can actually come out and talk. But Hector Luis Garcia was a name that was suggested. For Ryan, a name that was suggested was Jojo Diaz. I don't know if those are definitely going to be the opponents, but for those that said it was Abner Morris, no, Abner Morris was never going to be on the table. The fight's going to be in Vegas. All right, Chris. So yeah, what up, Jeff? I'm trying to be like you today, Jeff. I'm going live. Uh, Kwame, but we're gonna touch on it though. We're gonna touch on it. Right now it's just the introduction. Right now it's just the introduction. I don't think it is. No, it's not two different situations, Jason. It's not. Fulton. Salute to you, Fight Room. Hector was the name I heard. Tank cannot look past him. And Boots will be on both cards. Right now, Boots doesn't know which card he's going to be on. Boots is Boots actually may get his own card. So, uh, does it sell more than Bud and Spence? Since they're giving it enough time, since they're not rushing it and they're giving it until May, yes. That's the reality of it. What up, Matt? Ryan Garcia has more heart than Crawford. Damn. Fighter IQ was good. It's always good when you stop by. Inouye's too sharp for Fulton. Fulton is a great fighter, but went to war with Leo and Figueroa. Jody, I feel like what you're overlooking is the size. And the fact that Inouye's never been there with that type of that style of fighter before. He's never even sparred a fighter like Fulton. So yeah, hopefully he'll be on the card. Yeah. Shout out to Tank and Ryan for giving the fans what they want. How true is it? Not true at all. I'll drop that interview tomorrow. You're going to be disappointed. Put it like you're going to be disappointed. All right, so let's have an uncomfortable conversation now that we got 49 people in there. Yo, if you not subscribed, subscribe, like the video. I rarely go live. We're gonna have an uncomfortable conversation. I'm a business guy, right? So if you've ever come on a show that I'm on, a live that I'm on, I'm always going to tell you business first. That's who I am. That's who I've always been. I want these fighters to get paid. I want these fighters to make money. And wait, let me get to. You ain't gonna be disappointed in Boots. Boots doesn't have an opponent yet, but I said you're gonna be disappointed. Yeah. So you can kind of surmise what I'm saying. But so I've always been about fighters getting money and always understood the business side of boxing and where they stand. Like for us, this is fun. It's pastime. For them, this is their career. So you should always do what's in your best interest. Okay. But a lot of other channels didn't echo that sentiment. A lot of other channels, oh man, just make the fight undisputed. Give us the fights we want. This dude is ducking, that dude is ducking. Right? A lot of those dudes pick a side. And when they pick a side, if it's a Crawford side, it's oh, we just want undisputed. Y'all saying everything but let's fight. F the business, y'all managers. And then when Crawford makes a business move, then all of a sudden, y'all become some of the Forbes 500. Change your energy. And I can say the same for Spence fans in regards to um, his hypocrisy when he was on Keith Thurman's ass. It was Free Smoke Jr. It wasn't about the business of boxing. As soon as Terence Crawford became involved, then all of a sudden it's oh man, he's on the other side of the street. Oh man, he got to do this, he got to do that. Oh wait, let me clear up my side. A lot of dudes don't look at it both ways, but I do. But the uncomfortable conversation that I feel like we should have is does this make Terence Crawford look bad? Y'all let me know in the comments. Y'all let me know in the comments, yo. Does this make Terence Crawford look bad? Because what I kept hearing is Al Haymon don't want to work with anybody. Al Haymon just want to make in-house fights. Al Haymon is a cancer to boxing. Tank is this, Tank is that, Tank don't want to fight nobody, etc. Fight got done. Fight got done. So I'm asking you, does Terence Crawford look bad right now? Because Ryan Garcia was negotiating with the same people. Ryan Garcia has his own network. Ryan Garcia has a promoter that sued Al Haymon. Those still got done. Ryan Garcia and Tank have been negotiating this fight for a long time, and there has been plenty of obstacles, right? Plenty of obstacles. Let me tell you. So they still got the deal done. Does Terence Crawford look bad right now? Because the same people that he was saying was unfair, the same people that he said, didn't want to make the fight, it's the same people that made a fight, an arguably more dangerous fight, arguably, and I'll explain the reasons of why that could be a more dangerous fight. That got it done. Cross network fights. I don't know. Yeah, no, that's not happening. Crawford really walked. Yeah, well, I mean, it's up to him. I'm just asking a question. Does he look bad today? All right, so what we got? All right, so the first one, no, I don't think it got anything to do with blood. Pressure was on Showtime. They gave in, and now it's a joint pay per view. It's not. It's not necessarily a joint pay per view. And do it for Little Saint. They didn't give in. No, like I said, they've been at this for a long time. The fighters have been that they've been agreed to terms. It just came down to the networks finding whatever split that they were going to come up with. So that was what the holdup is. But that's just normal business. Parlay. Crawford don't want no real competition. Everybody saw that Throne Sean Porter fight. I can't necessarily call it Throne. All right, so we got one. Well, we got like two for yeah. Okay. We got my man Loyal. Shouts out to Clown. You got 100%. That no guarantee Al Heyman put up looks bad. Explain. Him fighting who he's fighting? Yes, it does. Okay. Tank versus Ryan just saved boxing. Ryan is Mexican, so we had to pay him. We don't do no race stuff on here, bro. I feel like that's irrelevant to the conversation. So there's plenty of other channels that you can carry that with. Not here. Yes, because he waited a whole year and a half when he could have fought early in the year and then tried to blame it on Al. Yes, looking like a duck. Wow, but looking real bad right now. Damn. Terry, what's good, baby? Bud is a flat out duck. Damn, I thought it would be a little bit more even, right? Hopefully, this gets Crawford and Virgil ass in check to take the big fights. What up, Leon? My guy. Sort of, in my opinion. I guess the backlash has given an appetite for some to think Crawford's BSing. Thought Al Heyman blocked the big fights. Thought PBC was broke. Yeah. Woo! I just I just find it interesting. All the narratives that was going around. Like my man said, PBC's broke. Al Heyman's blocking the big fights. To me, Terence Crawford versus Earl Spence is a less dangerous fight than Tank versus Ryan Garcia. And let me explain why. Um, Terence Crawford has no physical advantages over Earl Spence. Earl Spence is the naturally bigger man. Terence Crawford is the older man that has moved up in two weight divisions, right? So whereas you look at Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis, while Ryan Garcia does have a lot of defensive flaws, Ryan is the bigger man. Ryan is the younger man. So Ryan got tanked by like 5 inches, and both of them are fast. Both of them have power. So it's in a situation where Ryan can really hurt Tank. Do I think the Tank's going to clip him? Yes, but I think Tank may have to walk through fire to do it because we all know Ryan is his hands are really fast and Ryan is cracking. So I think it's a more dangerous fight. Whereas though with Terence Crawford and Earl Spence, I see it's going to be a high speed chess match. I don't see anybody getting stopped in that fight. At one time I did. I thought Earl would get stopped. But the more and more I've been watching, the more and more I've been watching Crawford, the more and more I've been watching Earl Spence. Nah, I think somebody's going to win a decision and more than likely a close one. Seattle boxing, he needed some real representation. Eric says blame Bud. Porter is looking smart for his comments. Ward is looking bad too. I mean, I'm just asking the questions today. That's all I want. I want to know what the people are thinking. What's the temperature in the room? Shouts out to my boy 210 Boxing TV. What up, B? Indeed, he does. And he'll look worse and worse until that door is officially slammed in his face. Who's Boots fighting? Don't know yet. Two-10 Boxing. Do Mexicans get behind Ryan for this fight? That's another good question. I don't know. You'll be able to answer that. You're the voice of the Mexicanos, man. I know that it seems like the older Mexican fan really hasn't embraced Ryan Garcia. And I'm not sure if he's because he's a Mexican American or because of his social media presence. Old head Mexican dudes, they're not trying to hear none of that shit. They're not trying to see you on the gram like this. They just want to see you take tough fights. But I am curious to see if they do get behind Ryan because I definitely would like to see that. I would like to see the culturalism will make that fight big. You got the black guys cheering on Tank. You got the Mexican guys cheering on Ryan. Yeah, like a Floyd Oscar type thing, man. All right, so JR Boxer says, yeah, it does make Bud look bad because Bud was in the water asking where the big fish and the big fish appeared. Bud went underwater. Wow. Is Boots fighting Ellis? No. Crawford trying to fight Al. Crawford trying to fight Al, not letting him eat. This kind of says the contrary, though. Just saying. I mean, you would assume that, like, mind you, we're not in negotiations with him. But I mean, we can only surmise that Al just made another big deal. Okay, so B Jordan, you said pay what? Oh yeah, so you definitely getting the fuck off my live, my nigga. Yeah. All right, Hearns. Yo, there's gonna be no way I can keep up with all these comments, yo. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sheesh. Oh, appreciate you for the super chat, Kareem Boxing News. Appreciate the content that you put out, 100 man. I appreciate you, bro. I really do. All right, shit. I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. Hey, yo, leave that race stuff someplace else, man. We ain't doing that here. We talking street boxing. No feelings. If you agree, you agree. If you don't, you don't. But leave that shit someplace else, man. We all brothers here. Hey, give me 1 second, y'all. Hey, B, hey, Kwame. I'm gonna give y'all wrenches right now, right? What I need from y'all, man. Y'all see any race comments? Delete them, Jones, man. We ain't doing that here, yo. You too, Teague. Teague, if you see any race comments, delete them, man. We ain't got time for that. We talking boxing today. Shouts out to my man Jeff Campbell for the $5 super chat. I swear I was on the Ross podcast and Coach Calvin can confirm January 7th in DC. Yeah, January. All right, so this is what I was told. There was 3 choices for Gervonta Davis: Houston, Charlotte, and DC. Gervonta wants it in DC, so we got to still see how that plays out. But yeah, so if Tank chose DC, and I heard this like 2 days ago. So if Tank chose DC, it's probably because it's close to Baltimore. It's still a major metropolis, so you know. Oh, thank you for the $2 super chat, DW. Who do you think Boots is fighting next? If I had to guess, it's probably between 3 people: Butayev, Stanionis, or Crowley. Shouts out to the $10 super chat, man. My boy, I hope I pronounced it right. Akilo Nader. I hope I said that right, bro. If not, please correct me, man. I appreciate the love, bro. I really do. I second that. Love the YSM content. Tell Greg Hackett to stop hating on Smith. Yo, Bud is Hackett's boy, man. Bud is definitely Greg's boy. All right, my man loyal to the game. Mexicans will get behind Ryan for this one because it's the equivalent of possibly getting back at Floyd. I can see that. Floyd definitely had a lot of success against the Mexicanos. So did Manny Pacquiao. I think they nicknamed Manny Pacquiao the Mexicutioner. That's an awesome nickname, by the way. Oh, Jeff, Ryan's not his next fight. They both taking interim bouts. And what I heard was the only name I've heard so far from somebody I trust was Hector Luis Garcia was offered to Tank him. And I heard Jojo Diaz for Ryan. That's not concrete, but this was probably like a month ago. So I don't hate anybody, bro. I can't hate that man for doing what's in the best interest of him and his family. I'm just saying, does this make him look bad? Because the narrative that he was pushing out is that PBC really didn't want this fight. They were hard to negotiate with. They weren't trying to give a fair deal. But yet and still, Ryan Garcia, he made a fight with Tank. So is it really PBC? Or is it Terence Crawford being difficult? We don't know. But we can see how it looks, though. And how it looks is maybe Crawford overvalued his position, or maybe Crawford saw opportunity. This is what I think. Saw opportunity to get a quick 10 million and still get the Spence fight in 2023. Basically, he's going to double dip, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the narrative that PBC is hard to deal with and hard to negotiate with and don't want to work with other people and make the big fights, well, they just made a big fight. They just made a real big fight. It's a wait and see situation, Idris. It's a wait and see. They really don't know where they're going to what card they're going to be on. They may actually get their own card. Oh, my man, Jeff Campbell, $2 super chat, my guy. Tio versus Martin for December 10th. Wait, I thought it was supposed to be Pedraza. Yeah, Christian, it's me. I rarely get on live, but man, I just wanted to talk about that. I wanted to get the feel of the streets. right? Because that's what boxing is. Boxing isn't just in, these 20,000 seat arenas with the glitz and the glamour. Boxing's in the gyms. That's why I like to cover boxing. That real gritty, that real feel. Sweat, stinky ass gloves, funky ass hand wraps, scraped knuckles. That for me, that's boxing. And the fans, man. Appreciate you, Christian. I really appreciate you, man. My man Idris Kamara. Appreciate the $2 super chat, bro. I really do. Y'all showing real love tonight. Oh, Pedraza got COVID. Jeff, you just put me on, man. I really, thanks, bro. I really appreciate that. Shit. Wow. Dry water. If you subscribe to the channel, you'll find out like 9:30 a.m. tomorrow. I'm letting Ryan Garcia and Tank have their day. Ain't no point in me dropping, any Boots news per se today because everything's about Ryan and Tank. So yeah. I bet those guys don't have a zero guarantee. A grind hard. Well, for anybody that's in the chat, let me explain it to you. Okay, so last time I talked to Bob Arum, he said when putting a fight together, it's your promoter that gives you a guarantee. He said it's unfair for you to ask another promoter to guarantee you some money. With that being said, Terence Crawford was offered a guarantee. Terence Crawford wanted this. They were offering that. They were so far apart on the guarantee that, and mind you, Earl had already agreed to a lower number. As a matter of fact, fuck it, man. Let me just give out the numbers, man. Crawford wanted 15. They were guaranteeing 8.5. They got as high as 10. They wouldn't move off of that. Crawford wouldn't move off of 15. They wouldn't move off of 10. So they went to a percentage base. Now, if you've ever done any kind of business, percentage base might actually come out better. You have the potential to make more money. So that's what happened. Tired of dudes hit me with oh man, they were unfair. They offered no guarantee. Yeah, they did. He wanted a different number. And it's that man's choice if that money wasn't enough. That's between them two. I'm just saying, it don't make it seem like it's something like everybody's out to get you. No, it's business. You chose a percentage deal. You didn't want the guarantee. It is what it is. Christian Lucas, I appreciate the $5 super chat, bro. Just for the work you do. Always solid questions. Thank you, man. Thank you. Yes, I did. I watched it. It was interesting. My man Iso, hope I'm pronounced it right. No has issues making big fights with Haymon except Crawford. Canelo, Fury, Cotto. Yeah, damn. Damn. That's a good point. Ryan has made a fight with Al. Canelo has made a fight with Al. Fury has made a fight with Al. Only person that it's seeming to be a stumbling block is Terence Crawford. Now, again, I can't tell that man what to take. It's his business, it's not mine. But perception is reality. And right now, according to the fans, they perceive as this makes Terence Crawford look bad, being that The people that he said is hard to negotiate with just negotiated a deal with somebody that actually sued them. Yeah, Jay, I'm dropping that Boots news in the morning. Y'all not gonna be happy though. I don't know. I don't know. Thurman, I think somebody asked earlier, who do I got? Spencer Thurman. I actually think that's a 50-50 fight. I actually, you can kind of favor Spence because of the tear that he's been on, but I don't think you can just write Thurman off because he has things that Spence has never faced. He's the best mover. Well, he's the best puncher while on the move. Like Keith's got good legs. And I've never really seen a fight where Spence had to cut the ring off with somebody who could also punch. I saw him in there with Algieri, but by the time he closed the distance on Algieri, there was nothing really. It was not really to worry about coming back. With Keith, there's going to be something to worry about coming back, and it could be a situation where Spence walks into some shit. Bud is a duck, plain and simple. Damn, Jeff. Jeff out here throwing the big guns, man. Boots is getting a homecoming fight. Not sure. I would really, really hope because I'm tired of always having to travel for fights. That's my one beef with Al, man. Give me a Philly fight, dude. Shit. My man Bo Sports said, Isaac Cruz manager said they looking for March, I think. Okay. Spencer Crawford holding up Boo's career. You 100% right. You're 100% right. They're holding up boxing. They're holding up Virgil. They're holding up Stanionis. They're holding up Boots. Hit the like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed. My man Professor Bryce says that don't be nothing because PBC and Top Rank crossed each other street several times before this Golden Boy as well. They just ain't want to fight Bud. Now, I don't with Terence Crawford's fans, in Terence Crawford's fans' minds, he's just this unstoppable monster that everybody's afraid of. That's not reality. Reality is fighters aren't scared of each other. They're not. Like these dudes fought each other in the amateurs. Like what this Earl Spence really had to be afraid of. We're gonna be honest. What does Earl Spence had to be afraid of with Terence Crawford? What is Terence Crawford going to show him that he's never seen in his very storied career, and vice versa? I'm not saying that Bud's scared of Spence. What he got to be scared of? He's Terence Crawford, 38-0. It's a fight. At the end of the day, it's a fight where they're going to make millions. Nah, like I don't buy that fear narrative. I never have. These dudes ain't scared. Let me know in the comments. Does this make Bud look bad? Does this go against the narrative that Bud has been painting, or the narratives that anti PBC channels, media members have been painting? PBC is broke. Al won't make cross network fights. Does this go against those narratives? Because this is too shit. Last year was what, Fury versus Wilder. So yeah. So back-to-back years, Al's made big fights from another side of the street. Hey Jeff, you pulling up to DC? If it's in DC, I'm there, bro. Maybe we can link. I disagree, bro. I disagree. These dudes, at the end of the day, it comes down to money, right? For me, Terence Crawford saw an opportunity to double dip and he took it. But he doesn't want to face any of the criticism because the whole narrative that he's been pushing is he wanted Spence, he wanted Spence, he wanted undisputed. So this is a this is a PR move to avoid backlash. No, no, it was all them. They didn't want the fight. But in reality is, yo, they gonna give me 10 million to fight who? Oh, I'm taking it. I'm taking it. And shouts out to Black Pound for making a splash, man. Shouts out to Black Pound for making a splash. The guy that runs Black Pound, the boy Desmond Gums, he's a good dude, man. He's a good dude, and and he's making moves. I'm just gonna say that he you'd be surprised who he's been talking to or attempting to talk to make fights. He's definitely trying to make a splash in boxing. Appreciate you, Big Blunts Boxing. You might have the best name in all of YouTube. You know? All right, so if we on the East Coast and we meeting in DC January, is that what we doing, man? I'm for it, yo. I'm for it. I like DC. Shouts out to my man Jeff Campbell again. Shout out to Big Blunts and Boxing, breaking the TO news. Go subscribe. Yeah, man. Subscribe to my man Big Blunts, man. We out here. Hey, yo, in the last 20 minutes, I'm going to open up the panel and I want y'all to give y'all thoughts, man. I want y'all to tell me how do you feel Terence Crawford looks after this announcement. My man in life says, I think Bud used Arrow as leverage to get the 10 mil from BP. Yeah, I would say so. I would say that was a good fucking move. Yeah. Want to send out a happy birthday shout out to my man Joe. What up, Joe? Appreciate you, bro. If Earl don't fight this year, it proves they ain't have any more dates for 2022. Okay. You better be getting drunk, bro. Alice made some of the biggest fights we know. Mayweather, yes, yes, yes. When it comes to big events, that's Al Heyman. Whether it's a Drake tour, whether it's a Michael Jackson tour, whether it's a Floyd Mayweather fight, whether it's Canelo fight, Deontay Wilder, Al Heyman's at the center of it, man. Al Heyman's at the center of it. My man Dre says, with all due respect, I think you're highly critical of Bud and it's unnecessary. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. I didn't really think that I was highly criticizing Bud for this particular instance. I'm asking how does he look? And according to the fans, y'all the guys that pay for fights. I'm a media member. I have my opinions, but I'm supposed to be indifferent. But do you criticize Bud at all for his role in this fight not happening? Or are you going to completely blame the other side? Because with me, I see Terence Crawford had made a business move in the sense of if they're going to pay me 10 million to fight, I'm not going to call him a turkey, but a fighter who isn't of Terence Crawford's caliber. a fighter that I'm likely to beat, I'm going to take it. All right, Southwest. Well, you gonna get your shot. Y'all let me know, how do you feel? Links in the chat. Y'all got the last 20 minutes. Because at the end of the day, I'm not a Crawford nor a Spence fan. I could care less. That's the reality. You got some dudes that's on one side, you got some dudes that's on the other. I see hypocritical statements that Crawford makes. I see hypocritical statements that Spence makes. So, all right, we got our first guy. Sean Tate.
Hey, what's going on, my brother YSM? How you doing?
What was good? Was you in the comments?
Nah, man, I'm driving, man. So I said, let me go ahead and call in. You feel me?
All right, yo, the floor is
Yeah.
the floor is y'all. My man Andre Diggs just popped on. Y'all let me know how Terence Crawford looks in this situation.
Okay. So, man, I feel like Terence Crawford looks terrible in this situation. And I'm like this, man. I'm not against anybody getting their money, but my issue is like we can't stick to one reason why this fight isn't happening. 1 minute it's because of a lack of transparency. Then it's, man, he wants to go get the bag. Then it's, oh, I didn't want to fight Boots or Ortiz because their name wasn't brought up to me. But you're supposed to be the boss now. So who's supposed to bring Ortiz or Boots' name to you? You know what I mean? Um, my main issue is like we all want to see Earl and Crawford fight each other, but if not, at least they should be fighting quality opponents. You know what I mean? And now that Crawford has made this move, it's like, what about the mandatories? Because now everybody can push that button, and then we may never get to see Crawford Spence or Spence Crawford. And I'll pass the mic, man.
Hey,
Yeah.
Dre. Go ahead,
What's
Coach
going
Dre.
on? What's going on, brother? First off, I just want to say, man, I appreciate all the great work you do, man. I vehemently watch your interviews with a lot of boxers, man. So, and you from out of my city, man. So shout out to all the things you doing, bro. Real rap. But
Shouts out to Southwest is in the building, man.
You already know. But what I want to say, I want to touch on a few things though. But I'm gonna start off with the Boots and the Virgil Ortiz thing. Like when people say why didn't he fight Boots or why didn't he fight Virgil Ortiz? I'm trying to make it as sweet as possible. First off, I don't really think that he has to fight them necessarily because they're not his mandatory yet. Now I think you can only because you have to be fair to you haven't said Bud Duck them, but there has been other people that said Bud Duck Boots and Bud Duck Virgil Ortiz, but you can't duck someone if they're not your mandatory or they're not a champion in your weight class. So they're not his mandatory yet. He's going to have a mandatory in July. But the reason why the Boots fight couldn't happen is because Boots is contractually obligated to fight on Showtime. Now, when Bud say he is his own boss, we have to put it in context what it means. He's his own boss, meaning he can fight on any network he choose, but he doesn't put the money up. The network does. So BLK are the ones that are putting the money up for Bud to fight David Avanesian. In order for him to fight Boots, Boots would have been able to had to cross over to get that money and he can't because he's contractually obligated to fight on Showtime. So that fight wouldn't have been able to happen anyway. And some people say, well, why wouldn't he negotiate with Steven Espinosa to fight Boots? Well, he can't because if they couldn't give him a guarantee for Spence, which is crazy because Porter got a guarantee, Danny Garcia got a guarantee, Mikey Garcia got a guarantee, Ugas got a guarantee.
Dre,
But
Dre,
go ahead, bro.
you digging yourself a hole, bro. I'm gonna try to give you some rope though. Digging yourself a hole with the guarantee talk. All right? Go ahead.
Yeah, so but So I'm gonna make it sweet, so the other brothers can go. But basically, what I'm saying is that I feel as though that fight wouldn't have been able to happen because of network politics. Because Boots would have had to go over to BLK to get that bread, and he can't because he's contractually obligated to Showtime. That's all I wanted to say. But I'm still in here though. Go ahead.
Hey, Damone, go ahead, Damone. Cook.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna let the gentleman finish up. I didn't know if the other gentleman had a rebuttal to that because I know he was, then you two was going at it. I didn't want to jump in.
I'm gonna let people cook, and then we'll get into rebuttals. But everybody get to say their piece. You go ahead.
Okay, I'm just joining in, man. I just getting done with work and everything. I'm just joining in. I support you, man. My whole thing about I just want to talk about. I may be talking on a tangent, but I just want to talk about the Sean Porter thing, right? Sean Porter was saying about Bud needed proper representation or different representation to get the deal done with PBC, correct? Am I correct about that? Am I correct about that? Okay. Well, when Bud was with Top Rank and Bob Arum, isn't that considered probably top representation? And they told him that they wouldn't do business with Bob? That he had to cross over to the other side of the street to do business with PBC? Without Bob? Am I correct?
Definitely, yeah, definitely.
Right? I think, and the thing about, I'm just jumping all over, man, because I'm just getting here. But to me, Sean seem like I know he's him and Buzz supposed to be tight, but is he? I mean, is he still under PBC in any kind of way? I'm asking. I don't know. I'm confused about that.
Is who still under? Is who under PBC?
Like Sean, is he like contractually still under them from a commentating perspective or something? Because it didn't make sense what he was saying. It seemed like he was just throwing Bud under the bus to me. I'm asking. I don't know.
I don't know. I know Sean does work for DAZN.
Okay. My thing about this fight, though, I'm just gonna sum it up. My whole thing about the fight between Arrow and Bud. I think Arrow wants to fight. I think Bud wants to fight. I just think that the suits, meaning Al Haymon and PBC, they didn't want to put the fight on right now. Maybe they didn't have for whatever his money or whatever reason. I don't think it was either fighter. I think it was the suits. And I'll let y'all go with it from there.
We got Ricky and Dr. Love Jones. Ricky, you first. Say your piece.
Hey, what's good with you, bro? Great work, man. Great work. I admire your work, man.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate you, man.
But to make your point, as far as yes, this make Bud look bad, bro. Right? This make Bud look bad because your excuses was money, and this fight's going to pull this fight not cheap. Between Ryan and Ryan Garcia and Tank, that's not a cheap fight, right? Now, what I want to explain to people who they act like they don't understand how boxing work, right? Every network has a budget, correct, YSM?
Yes.
Right? Is it fair to say that whether it's Top Rank, DAZN, or PBC, or any other promotional company, for that matter, have a budget every year, right? Yes. So, of course, we got to get a fight that's within the budget or that the budget a lot. So I think that's crazy for us to even admit that, to try to argue that point about the money wasn't there, right? But the truth of the matter is this. Y'all say the suits didn't want to fight. The suits have nothing to do with Bud's side. Bud's his own boss, out of his own accord,
bro.
Right? So let me finish my point, please. Let me finish my point. Can I finish my point? And then y'all can go off, right? He's his own boss. So at that point, there's no excuse with the suits. If he really wanted to fight like you guys say he did back in 2018, 2019, 2020, when he told y'all out his own mouth, I would take the lower amount to beat this man, and he didn't. It's about the bag. Contradiction number one. Contradiction number two. You don't bring sand to the beach. If Bud Crawford is as talented a welterweight as we believe he is, and he's great and all that, future Hall of Famer, 3 world weight champion, former undisputed, it should be easy work for him to go and tear through them guys on PBC where all the premium welterweights were at. The best example is Devin Haney. Devin Haney feels he was the best, that he's the best at his weight class. He was stuck on DAZN. What did he do? He took a crappy deal win over the Top Rank, and he's trying to clean house. Again, the proof is in the pudding. This man never really wanted to fight Errol. What he did was attach his name to Errol. And again, whenever he has a fight locked in, at that point, Errol's name is mentioned. It's just funny how whenever this dude has a fight, and even in the interviews we have right now, the one he had with the lady from over there in Europe, she didn't bring up the points about Errol. He did. He uses Errol's name to promote his fights. He never wanted this fight. I honestly think this fight isn't going to happen. I think, honestly, that Errol wants to fight because he's the one who keeps saying he's going to split the block. I want to fight. When Bud Crawford has told y'all on numerous occasions, hey, this fight isn't that important to me. I'm good. I'm not worried about it. It's cool. Right? And with that being said, bro, Bud, if he really wanted to make this fight happen, you cannot switch the game of boxing on your whims and your expectations because you believe you are. We all know that boxing, everybody want to say it's a business and it's about money. But it's funny how when Errol has done his job at 147 to accumulate 3 belts and get the leverage of being the A side, all of a sudden Bud now wants to flip the game to try to run the game up. No, sir. You have 1 belt with bad numbers at 147. This is not 140. If you want to live in those accolades, please move back to 140, right? Boxing is the what have you done for me lately sport. And at 147, he's shown that he can't put butts in seats. He's shown that he can't fight top opposition, whether y'all want to say he's ducking top opposition or that he was at Top Rank. So he has to take a back seat to Errol. So if he doesn't want to do that, that means he doesn't want the fight. Plain and simple, short and sweet.
Okay. Can I rebuttal?
Dr. Love Jones?
For somebody else. Okay.
You up?
All right. Peace and love. YSM. Love the content you've been doing. Shout out to Greg Hackett. That's like one of my favorite commentators on this. So salute to him. But anyways, here's my thought about this, right? I personally don't look at this as a negative on both sides. Here's how I see it, right? When Sean Porter and Bob Arum said 2 things that's kind of similar. Bob Arum said, Terence Crawford is looking for a guarantee, but you don't have a promoter to give him a guarantee. So that's one flaw for Bud Crawford. And then Sean Porter said he didn't have a proper team, and Sean Porter knows because he was with Al Haymon. So he knows how Haymon negotiates, how to do business, and how this. Now, Terence Crawford cannot get a guarantee, being that he's not signed to PBC. And he's fighting a fighter that's on PBC. So, like, so Al Haymon should just give him a guarantee for that one fight and then he win the belts and then go somewhere else? From a business sense, that doesn't make sense for Al Haymon to do, right? And, so I think this is what I think too. I think what happened is this. Bud Crawford wanted to get his pay. He wanted to get paid because he was not getting the money he thought he should be making at with Top Rank. So being that, I really think that they must have tried to negotiate it. Something happened. This $10 million money that is coming from BLK Prime came through, and Bud took that because that's $10 million. You're not getting $10 million. Bud is not getting $10 million anywhere. Like, he's not getting $10 million anywhere just to fight David Avanesian. That's an easy bag for Bud. So I honestly think it was advised for him to just take that money and they'll spin the block. I think the fight's gonna happen. Why? Because right now the fight ain't happening, and we still talking about this more than any other fight. We just had a big announcement with Tank and Garcia, but yet we're still talking about this fight. This is clearly the biggest fight in boxing. The powers of be is not going to allow this bag to go fumble. So I do think that the fight will happen. I just think that it's right now, but there's some paper on the table for Bud to go get, and then Spence could go get a fight with either Thurman or whoever and get his paper. Then they fight again. But that's what I really think at the end of the day. They're going to fight. It's just right now, the way it's set up for, especially for Terence Crawford, he doesn't have the proper leverage to really get what he wants. And maybe with this fight, getting a little money in his pocket can help him get the leverage. That's my thoughts.
All right, D Luckett. I don't know what happened to my man Loyal, but D Luckett just hopped on. D Luckett, Cook, Loyal. You go to hop back on. I'm gonna hop off and let y'all, say y'all piece.
That's a bet. I ain't have too much to say really. I kind of heard a little bit of things the other guy mentioned earlier, but I can't really exactly remember what my response was going to be. But I totally disagree when it comes to Bud not wanting to fight. I think both guys want to fight.
I'm gonna step off and let Loyal come on, and then after you get talking, Loyal will talk, and then y'all can just go ahead and rock out.
That's a bet. But yeah, I'm all Bud all day, man. I just feel like at this point, we just gotta relax, bro. I feel like a lot of people just having a little fun with the bashing and trying to point fingers here and there, trying to find some kind of way to defend their favorite fighter. I don't think Bud's trying to attach his name to nobody. Bud's name is big enough to where he doesn't need to attach his name to anybody at this point. Why would he have to attach his name to Spence when that's already the biggest fight in boxing? So why it doesn't even make sense for him to have to attach his name. Just make it make sense, man. A lot of this shit is just kind of unnecessary arguments.
Right.
I definitely feel like the fight's going to happen sometime next year for sure. And I did hear him say something about, well, Spence did say he wanted to spin the block, but Bud also said he wanted to go back into negotiation after this fight. So you can't just pick and choose what you want to argue and try to leave certain things out that the other fighter has mentioned as well. That shows that he wants to fight too. It's so many things that we can go to on both sides to pick out, to, you know what I'm saying, trying to nitpick on what we can and can't, what we will and won't pick or bring to the table when it comes to this conversation to try to negate the next guy. But I definitely think both guys want to fight. I think the fight will happen. I just think, and somebody else mentioned something earlier about it was a good point. He said something about how Sean Porter mentioned that he didn't have the right people at the table with him, but he was with Top Rank, and they were trying to make it seem like they didn't want to do business with Top Rank.
Yep.
And the fact that who was that said that?
That was me. Yep, you're right.
Good point. Because it's like this, bro. All right. Obviously, he's with somebody that knows Bob Arum. That's one of the biggest names when it comes to promoters, right? And making somebody come into a table and making something happen, right? Okay, cool. Y'all tell him that he needs to leave Top Rank. And this is the thing, it's so damn dumb, bro, because it's like we so quick to try to tell the man to leave Top Rank, and when he does it, it's still not enough. He still doesn't want to fight. When that's an obvious indication that he wants to fight. He wouldn't leave Top Rank to go somewhere and not get a guarantee. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, he said something about he said he was willing to take the lower cut, which he still was. He was. He just didn't expect them to tell him that he wasn't getting any guaranteed money. That was the issue.
Facts.
How can you say? Because this is the thing. You're taking a low cut, but if it's not a guarantee, you don't know what the hell that low cut is gonna be. That low
We
cut
heard the
zero.
PBC rumors. The guy's not getting their money.
Hey, brothers, I wanted to say something real quick. I don't know if the dude is still in here, but he says something that's very problematic, right? So let me preface what I'm about to say with this really, really, really quickly. The problem is a lot of Spence fans, from what I've seen on the internet, they speak without really knowing anything in terms of like historic context. So the dude said that Crawford should have went over to the PBC and fought dudes or whatever, and maybe he could have done this and maybe could have done that. But when you look, Keith Thurman literally said on Fight Hype, you can look the interview up right now. He said, I'm not interested in a Terence Crawford fight. He said they can send me an offer. They can try to entice me. I'm not interested in that fight. Danny Garcia was offered a $3 million fight high cash incentive to fight Terence Crawford.
Guaranteed.
Do you know what Danny Garcia dad said? Danny Garcia dad said, why is Crawford trying to fight Danny Garcia? He's a PBC fighter. Won't he go fight Timothy Bradley? These niggas literally been ducking Crawford for years by
they
their
both shared.
own
Yeah,
testimony, and Crawford is the one that's getting blamed for it. Shit is
that's
crazy.
crazy, man.
All
And
right.
then if you go to PBC, it's no guarantee because Spence didn't get the Thurman fight. It's no guarantee.
Well, I'm a be a different voice in this conversation about that. So the brother made a point about people not having historical context. Well, you gotta if you're gonna tell the whole story about historical context, you gotta tell the whole story. The reason that they didn't why no one was fucking with Bud or the PBC wasn't fucking with Top Rank is because as soon as they PBC and Top Rank made the biggest bag in the history of the sport, Top Rank turned around and sued Al Haymon for $100 million, right directly following that fight. So who's gonna who's gonna try to have a business dealing with somebody like that? Right.
That's a contradictory statement, my brother.
Let me finish because you guys spoke. I didn't agree with y'all stuff, but I didn't say a word.
Okay, go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
So the second thing is now again when Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury 3 was going on, they had to go through mediation, even though they had a rematch clause for that fight. They had to go to court again. And if anyone looks at that timeline, that is exactly when Bob Arum started saying the fight between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford is not happening. Those guys out. If you want to do business with somebody, you don't sue them for $100 million and then expect them to turn around and then try to help you out, especially when the business that you tried to sue has all the welterweights and you only have one. When the business you try to sue has all of the titles and you only have one of the 4 titles. So if I want to do business with any of you guys, I'm not going to do something to the detriment of you guys, to put any of you guys in a situation where it's uncomfortable, unfair, or try to destroy you, and then turn around and say, "Hey, help me out and let's do business." I would be a fool to sit back and think that you guys would do business with me after I did that. So I don't see why that part is just so left out and no one acts like that just didn't exist. But that's common knowledge in boxing.
To that, bro. That doesn't really matter, to be honest, because the fact that he left Top Rank and the fact that the guy, because Bud has nothing to do with what Bob has done. He's a fighter. That's what we're talking about. We're not really even trying to compare their promotions and things of that sort. The thing is, though, like, if you're gonna, and this mainly targeted towards the fans. It's not even a target towards PBC, which PBC plays a role, but it's targeted towards the overall fans that try to find some form of a reason to negate this man for doing his best. He can only do so much at the end of the day. And the thing is this, they have more power on their end. That's the thing. Like, they have more stuff to control when it comes to them having showtime and the promotion, and he's just a fighter coming in trying to make a fight happen. So let me say this. Why is he being the one held more accountable when he's not even the one that's more responsible to make the fight happen? These guys are the ones that are supposed to be the big dogs, the ones that with the 3 belts and the money behind them and things of that sort. So how the hell is he being held accountable more than they are?
What A side of history can't guarantee a payday?
Okay,
every A side always guarantee a payday.
Again, it doesn't make sense for Al Haymon to pay.
Yeah, so hold on. So let me respond. Let me respond to the brother because when I just made my statement. A second. Hold on a second, brother. When I made my comment, I said
You're breaking up.
To the guy. Okay.
You're breaking up bad.
Can you guys hear me?
It's a delay, bro.
Nah, you breaking up.
You breaking up. All right. Here's a point I want to make, right?
Yeah.
Can you
how about now?
All right, you good. You good.
Better?
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, can you guys hear me better now?
Yeah, you good, bro.
Yeah.
What I'm saying was my first point was just based off in regards to the guy who said something in regards to the backstory of everything in the past. Now for today, here's another part that you guys keep leaving out for some reason. Mm-hmm. How easy is it to negotiate the biggest fight in the sport of boxing when the guy coming in as a free agent does not have a good track record or history of selling pay-per-views, but he's coming in asking for a huge guarantee like $15 million.
Well, when
If
you
we
want
look
How
at
do we
it,
know
hold
he
on,
asked for 15 million?
That's never been verified. That's
hold on,
never been verified.
let me finish. Why we on YSM Sports Media's panel? YSM has never, ever, since I've known him, come out and told me anything false about what's happened behind the scenes. And these are things that were talked about earlier. Now, if we take a look at Terence Crawford's track record, his best pay-per-view was his last one against Sean Porter, which did 135,000. $75 times 135,000 is $10,125,000. This guy is coming in asking for first 20 million and 15 million guarantee, just a guarantee, not nothing else in the back end, but just a guarantee because we all know
that a
fighters
3-fight
getting
deal, 2-fight deal?
no, that was just for the Spence fight. They initially
When it comes to the
tried to
14
give
million, 15 million
right,
number, that's what I remember.
right. They initially, see, here's the thing: you can't like have your cake and eat it too. It's like if you don't want to sign with Al Haymon, so you could get the guarantees and get 3 fights. If you just want to do your own free agent thing, then you got to put your big boy pants on and you got to do business. And if this guy has
Canelo like that, Canelo didn't sign no
well,
3-fight deal.
Canelo last pay per view that sold on Showtime did 800,000. Terence Crawford's best pay per view did less than 15% of that. So we can't put Canelo in the same ballpark.
Can I say something?
No.
Can I say
Let me ask
something?
you this. Can I ask you this one question? Is that I'm not disputing anything. You got some facts with you. I'm not even going to dispute that. My one question to you is, do you think PBC side did anything wrong? Anything?
No, I don't.
Not one thing.
I don't think it's about.
No.
I'm gonna personally say this. I don't think anybody. I think this is called negotiation, right? Negotiation is get the best deal that works. If not, you go try to find something that works for you. Come back to the table. I think they're in the process of going about exploring other options and then coming back to the table. It's really not about right or wrong. This is a business, and as a business, the goal is to make money and make profit. Al Haymon is not about to sit here and pay Terence Crawford a guarantee when he's not his fighter. That's not going to happen. Never in the history of boxing has a.
Thank you.
You could argue that in today's boxing.
If he was signed to PBC, you could say it's bogus.
Yeah,
I'm going to say this, and I'm going to let y'all cook.
Because here's the thing. Yes, I see in the comments. Someone saying he paid Spence's last 5 opponents. Spence's last 5 opponents has been with Al Haymon.
Exactly.
Different thing. You cannot expect you as a free agent to get guaranteed money for one fight with one promoter. You're not going to have
this though, bro. Let me say this. Man. What makes this fight such a big fight?
Because everybody
the matchup. Right. The matchup and the build-up. The matchup and the build-up.
My point exactly.
Do the fans.
So let me say this. My point exactly, bro. The matchup. So without Bud, because y'all talking like y'all acting like this is some shit to where Bud's coming over to PBC.
Bud is part of the biggest fight. Yeah.
And then it's like this too. They're acting like Bud is coming over to fight somebody else other than Spence, and they have to put this big money up for him or whatever. This is the fact that he's a part of the biggest fight in boxing. He's gonna make y'all money if y'all so good at promotions and y'all got this big name, this big history behind y'all when it comes to making money and making big fights. Why is it such a big deal when it comes to this guy?
Because let me answer that. It's not a big deal when it comes to this guy. What the big deal is what this guy is worth based on what he brings to the table.
It's not about
when you
worth that.
Let me just hold on a second. See, here's the thing, right? I know that we all have big sides, but you can't process things if you're not ready to receive things. If you just like blurting something out, it's like maybe you can hear something that might make sense. Maybe you could agree with it. Maybe you don't agree with it.
That's why I'm.
But what I'm saying, hold on. But here's what I'm saying, right? If let's just say, for instance, you and I are both artists. Say we're both rap artists, and you sell a lot of tickets. You're famous. You're well known, and I'm an underground artist. That's hot. But I don't have the same following as you. But we want to do an event together because it's going to be one of the biggest events. You're going to get paid more to me because you have a track record and a fan base. when I tried to sell tickets, the only people that I got to come out to buy my tickets was people in my neighborhood. So,
let me say
so
this,
because
bro.
hold on. So
Okay.
what I'm saying, what I'm saying is, if we're gonna meet up and do an event, I'm not supposed to get a 50-50 split or anything close to what you're supposed to get.
All right, hey, bro.
Anything close.
Arrow was not a pay-per-view star.
He's
It's
not.
not,
And
yeah,
and
but
his
the
numbers
fact,
been declining.
but the fact is, he sells pay-per-view while Terence Crawford was kicked off of pay-per-view.
Okay,
let
will
me say
Arrow
this.
make his biggest payday fighting Bud Crawford?
Terence Crawford's guarantees have been higher than Errol Spencer's in the last 6 years. He's been receiving way more money than him in the last 6 years.
Different. But as we can see, even with these negotiations, it's a different business model that goes on with the PBC.
All right, can I say something real quick? Because I want to say something real quick. So you said, I wanted to go back because we keep talking and we keep going on other points. So it was something you said about Bob Arum suing PBC. Do you know that the first Fury and Wilder fight, the first two Fury and Wilder fights, took place after that lawsuit, not before?
Yeah, but the first fight had nothing to do with Top Rank.
I mean, my bad. So
I want you to think about this, right? I want you to think about this.
I wasn't finished. Bro.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, cool. So my bad. So the last two fights took place before, after that lawsuit. Secondly, what I wanted to say is, the whole Crawford wanted 10 million and 20 million. That's conjecture. That's never been confirmed from either side. Spence and them never said that. So that's conjecture at that point. That's not fact. We don't know. And either side didn't accuse either side of that. So that can't be true. That's opinion.
Well, I would say this. Hold on. Let me jump in. All right. We don't know the dollar figure for certain that Terence Crawford won. But based off what's been talked about in interviews and everybody said is, and how Terence Crawford is usually history has been getting his money, he's been looking for a guarantee. I think it's not rocket science to ask for the guarantee. Now, if he's getting 10 million with BLK Prime, he's going to ask for 15-20 million because he feels like that's what he's worth to this fight. Is that a bad number to want? No, if he was in a better situation with a promoter that can put the half of the money for the fight, yes, that is a great price to ask for. However, he's not in that situation.
Why doesn't he need a promoter for the BLK
fight? Because BLK Prime is the wild card. They came out of nowhere. Nobody thought Bud would get 10 million for fighting Avernesian. And if it was Errol Spence or Boots or whoever, you would take the 10 million to fighting too.
Yeah,
come on, man.
No, and that's what I'm saying.
No one's upset about him getting his bag.
Well, there's people upset about it.
No, I'm upset about him.
People calling him a fighting taking that fight.
Yeah, well, I'm upset about him. I'm not upset about him making his business decision and making $10 million for his family. I'm just saying, as boxing fans, nobody's asking to see that fight.
But the contract for PBC wasn't until 2023.
Look at what's going on right now with this live stream. The announcement of Tank and Ryan Garcia. They're not even fighting each other next.
Yeah. Hold
on. They're not. See, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. With Terence Crawford, this is the thing and why he's getting so much heat and backlash. Because he spent the last 4 years stating that this guy was scared of him, that this guy was ducking him. And now the guy, no one liked that Errol Spence. See, here's the thing. No one liked that Errol Spence said he's going to take the easy route. He's going to fight the people on his side and collect all the belts first. No one liked that. And Terence Crawford has always put the pressure on Errol Spence to do something for his career because he re-signed with Top Rank, who had no opponents for him. And because they ran out of opponents for him, they wanted to make the fight with Errol Spence. It's not Errol Spence's job to help Terence Crawford's career out. That's it. When Terence Crawford saw those high guarantees with Top Rank, he signed for it. He has to take everything that come with that. That's no one
to come with it when he finds something else because they didn't expect this deal to come out of the blue.
Yeah. So my point. So again, all I'm stating is this. This is a tough place for Terence Crawford to be because you have to think This guy's had a promoter his entire life, his entire boxing career. The first time he comes, he's a free agent. He's negotiating for the biggest fight in boxing, and he doesn't even have the numbers himself, the pay-per-view revenue sales, because that's what it's about. See, when it gets to pay-per-view, hold on. When it gets to pay-per-view, it's about how many sales you generate.
Nobody's buying pay-per-view no more, bro.
Yeah, but hold on. We can't use that. Hold on. We can't. I'm just gonna say this one last thing. We can't use no one's buying pay-per-view now when Terence Crawford is fighting on BLK pay-per-view. So we can't say that.
Yeah, but I want to say something real. I'm gonna make it sweet because you long-winded, bro. I'm gonna make it real sweet for y'all. If you look at Canelo Alvarez, hands down in America, he's the biggest draw. Period. When Gennady Golovkin fought Daniel Jacobs, his pay-per-view, I think he sold like 80,000 pay-per-views. When he fought David Lemieux, he sold like maybe 150. When Canelo Alvarez and Triple G fought. Do you know that Canelo Alvarez gave Triple G, a guy who is not a pay-per-view star, he gave him 44.5% of the pot. And Canelo is a bigger star than all them guys combined. If Canelo can make concessions to make the fight happen, then Spence and PBC can make concessions to make the fight happen.
I'm gonna tell you that I think here's the thing that you kind of missing though, right? Triple G had a promoter.
Right.
No, they didn't have a promoter until last year.
No,
but when we're talking about
promoter right now, brothers, why is he getting 10 mil without a promoter now? Why?
Again,
somebody sees value in him.
You want me? I can answer that very clearly.
Someone's desperate because they have no.
Hold up. Let me answer this question. Here's why BLK
That's hating
gave.
right there, bro.
That's
the truth.
Let me tell you why BLK Prime gave Terence Crawford 10 million. It's because BLK is trying to launch their boxing program on their network.
And guess what?
Terence Crawford is the best
and
the biggest name that they can make it. That's why they give him 10 million. It's
not because the fights start about 10 million.
Fights can still be sanctioned without promoters.
Hold up. Let me ask this question. Do you think BLK Prime is going to make back their money on that fight?
Yes. For $40, I already bought the pay-per-view. I already paid for it.
That doesn't make, hold on. That doesn't even make sense if I just gave you numbers. If he sold 100, if he sold, hold on. If he sold 100, and listen, if he sold 135,000, if he sold 135,000 pay-per-views against Sean Porter times 75, and that's 10 million.
How much is
these pay-per-views are $40. That means that he's gonna have to sell a number of pay-per-views that he's never sold. It's gonna be more than double than what he's ever sold in his career, and do it on a platform that's not even known.
How hard was to get that ESPN Plus
not
app?
even
That's
credible.
this question. Do y'all remember when the Zone first started, right?
Yep.
How a lot of people were talking about how the Zone was not going to last for a long time.
PBC did it too.
And
I never said.
The Zone is doing really well right now.
The Zone lost $1.3 billion last year.
But they took some L's.
They lost a $1.3 billion with a B.
They took L's. It's just that they was able to endure with those L's, and now they're able to expand. But that's what BLK Prime is doing. They're following that model. Get the fighter that they can do that with, so they can hopefully grow their boxing brand. It's not. They're not doing this to make money on this fight. No, they're playing the long game. So that's why he got the money.
And they got the young boy and Brian Norman too, y'all.
Yeah, and his fight, and he's never fought on there, and his fight's gotten pushed back 5 times.
I get it, but Broner's gonna sell.
Okay, before this Crawford.
Broner's gonna sell, bro.
Against who? They don't even have fighters. Against who?
You don't know that,
bro.
But I'm just saying, against who though?
Hey, can I make a statement real quick? Can I make a statement real quick, man?
You got it.
All right, dig this, man. This is what the truth of the matter is. The big issue is that for the last 4 years or so, the Crawford fans in camp have been coming real hard as if Errol was ducking, as if he was afraid. Now that the fight is here, the Errol Spence fans, we want to shut the Crawford fans up. We want to see Errol put hands on this guy. Okay. So when my man knocks on the front door and my man runs out the back door and does something else, it's a bad look.
That's not what happened.
Hold on. And I might also add, since everybody's talking about the PBC and now Haymon, it was Terence Crawford who was supposed to have been chasing Manny Pacquiao for years. And when it was time to sign on the contract, he didn't sign with Top Rank. Am I lying?
No, because they couldn't verify the funds, bro. That's why the fight didn't happen. They couldn't verify the money.
But what I'm saying is, if you're chasing this guy, and you back out of that contract or that negotiations, and then you do the same thing with Errol Spence, it's like, of course we're going to say, like, man,
bro, it was no money with the Pacquiao fight. What are you talking about? The money wasn't there.
Here's a question. Here's a question though, right? Did Terence Crawford come out and state before all this stuff with BLK even came out? Did he not come out and state that he agreed to all the terms? He agreed to everything, and Errol Spence was nowhere to be found.
We didn't hear from Errol until after he.
No. That's just brother. That's just a yes or no question. Before that happened, did Terence Crawford come out to the public and state that he agreed to everything? No guarantee, lower split. He agreed to it all, and Errol Spence was nowhere to be found. Did he come out and say
he agreed to the fight? Let me finish. He agreed to the fight for 2022, not 2023.
Yeah, who sent the revised contract?
Right. So the question, but here's the thing, right? Maybe we just have to look. Terence Crawford's never been in a big fight like this. Any fight where you're looking. Hold on a second. Listen. What I'm saying. It's not about Errol. We talk about Terence Crawford's perspective, not Errol. What I'm stating is
the big fish.
Listen to what I'm saying, brother. Even if this is the biggest fight in boxing, we've heard numerous times when Floyd Mayweather was fighting is any big fight. The promotion takes a while. If you're trying to recoup the type of money to make the most revenue, it takes time to promote the fight and to market the fight. They were supposed to do a multi-city tour and all this stuff and marketing, which are things he said, hold on, these are things that he asked to sign off on expenses for these things that he's never done that before. But now when all this stuff comes out and they agree to it, he lets the contract sit for 13 days and goes dark.
Hey, let me ask you,
dark.
Let me get this off. I got to get this off. You just quoted Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather also came out and said this fight ain't happening no time soon.
He said in 2023. Well, I mean, of course it's not going to happen.
No, okay, hold up. This we got to look at. You cannot just bloat that out. You got to give it context.
Right.
Floyd said that in a response to ESPN reports saying that the fight is signed and deal and done. And that's when Floyd came out and said, no, the fight is not signed and done. It ain't going to be signed and done until I say so.
Okay, when Tim Smith came out in January of this year and said, we don't have the money for the fight.
That's not what he said. Don't put words in. That's not what he said. He didn't say that. Tim Smith said that. What Tim Smith said was that they didn't want to make an insulting offer to Terence Crawford, and the reason he stated that is because Terence Crawford's pay-per-view numbers, if they go by the numbers, that the number would be insulting because
Terence Crawford's number then? What was his number in January of this year? What was his number? We don't know.
Whatever the number is,
but we don't know.
Whatever the number is, we got an idea of what he wanted. The guy, we don't have to even talk about numbers.
Not documented. What did he say he wanted?
But
what was
the man
number?
said? The man said he went to. Listen, the man said he went to some two companies that was going to come up with 25 million each.
Right.
So that lets you know what type of number Terence Crawford was coming in there with when he went to the PBC.
I respect it because when you do business, you negotiate.
Listen. No one's mad at that. But we're in a different climate now. We're in a climate where there's a lot of streaming going on. That's just real. There's a lot of streaming.
You take the guarantee, right?
No, that's what. But Terence Crawford can't dictate that because the people who need to make money is not him. It's the people who's financing the fight.
It's not Arrow. It's
he's the one stepping in the window.
Right. But Terence,
right?
You can't listen. Yeah, what I'm saying is you can't dictate anything when you're not financing your own way. See, if you're still
not financing his own way.
So money.
Now ain't financing the fight.
All right,
we're not talking about Earl. Earl's fine what's going on.
Let me jump in. I want to make a historic point, right? Let's go to history, right? So when Floyd Mayweather broke from Al Haymon and started his own company, he went and fought Oscar De La Hoya. That was a 75. That was a 75-35 split.
That can't be
That
right.
was
75 and 35 don't add
It
up,
was
sir.
less than that. It was less than that.
It was 70-30. It was 70-30.
75 and 75 35 don't add up.
Yeah, my bad.
No, he made 20. No. Floyd made 20-something% in that fight.
It was a lopsided split that they took because Oscar was a draw. Floyd Mayweather was the talent that can make the draw big.
Earl ain't
only when so my point is this, right? Floyd Mayweather had his own promotional company, didn't take a big fight up until this point. He just was split from Bob Arum. So he took the smallest amount just to make the fight, to make his big name. Now, Terence Crawford, who is not Floyd Mayweather, not knocking him as far as skills, but you talking about at that point in career, completely different sides. Floyd was much younger than what Bud Crawford is. Bud Crawford has not have that big enough draw for him to call out numbers he potentially could have been calling out.
Exactly.
And so now, yes, when you negotiate, you do hit the highest number, then you hit the middle number. But when you hit too high of a number, you can kill a deal like that. And that's a fact.
No, what I'm gonna say is when you do business, this is a key thing about business. It's not necessarily what you're worth, it's what you negotiate, fellas.
Facts.
Let's not go there about what you're worth. I mean, that's cool.
But here's the thing, though. You can't go too high above because you could kill a deal. Think about it. Let's say you're trying to work for Home Depot and they're paying average $15 to $17 an hour. You think you go in there and say, I want to get paid $35 an hour? They would
no, Lowe's is paying more, so I'm going to Lowe's, sir.
My point is, you don't go too high on any type of negotiation. Too high. Listen to what I just said. If you are applying for a job that's going to pay $27 an hour, and you go up there and you ask them for double that, unless you have the numbers and stuff to back it up, you could shut the door on a deal just by getting too high.
That's
a good point.
So this is business. So business
it's not a good point because the information has been presented. The information that's been presented was that Bud accepted the 35% offer. The fight fell apart once he realized when he was sent the revised contract. The fight fell apart when he realized that it wasn't going to take place this year. That's when he was like, "Well, I got to get a fight," and he still took a lower percentage.
Yeah, but
bro, even if the fight didn't take place this year, he could have still signed to make that fight and still got a fight before that. That's what no one talks about that.
No, I agree with you 100%.
Hold on. And that's exactly what Ryan Garcia and Tank are doing. Both of these guys have obligations. Both of these guys have obligations to their promoters before they're gonna fight, and they're gonna fight, and then they're gonna fight someone else.
That's providing neither one of them get upset, right?
Right. And all I'm saying is this too, right? If Terence Crawford was doing stuff in good faith and he's sitting there and he's negotiating with Al Haymon and Showtime, because Al Haymon don't speak. The only person who was giving us any insight was Steven Espinosa. So for guys to sit up here and say that he couldn't have fought Boots is some straight bullshit, number one. And I'm not saying he should have fought Boots before he fought Spence. I'm just saying if this guy's going to sit around, I would have more respect for Terence Crawford if he said, you know what, Errol Spence playing games. He don't want to sign for the fight. He's scared, whatever. And you know what? I'm a move on with my career, and I'm gonna go fight some. And I'm gonna go fight someone that's worthy, bro. You can't have the moniker, bro. You can't have listen, bro. You can't have the moniker of being the man in the sport. You can't have the moniker of being the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the sport, and then you go fight someone like David Avenigi.
That's not true, though. Mayweather had plenty pick'em fights when he was pound number one.
Yeah, but
Roy Jones had plenty pick'em fights when he was pound for pound number one. We created a new standard for Terence Crawford, which just isn't fair.
No one's creating a new standard. Tell me, okay, so I'll say this. Roy Jones fought Bernard Hopkins early in his career, right? Who is Terence Crawford for at the level of a Bernard Hopkins? He's
You
going
talking
into his
about probably
39th
a
fight.
top 3 all-time
No,
middleweight, bro.
but that's what I'm saying. This guy just stated that Roy Jones. So I'm gonna ask you. All right, I'll ask you another question. You brought up Floyd, right? Who has Terence Crawford fought? And we're gonna go back to Pretty Boy Floyd days. Who has Terence Crawford? Hold on. Who has Terence Crawford fought at the level of a Diego Chico Corrales at 38-0 when Floyd fought him? Who has he fought so far in his career that even matches up to that?
Hey, or Gennaro Hernandez.
Or Gennaro Hernandez. Who has he fought yet like that?
Okay,
you know why it's hard? You know why it's hard to say that, because styles make fights. If you look at Shane
it ain't about
Mosley,
styles. We're just talking about level of opposition. It's not about styles. We're talking about level of opposition.
Floyd ducked Paul Williams.
We're not talking. See,
No,
see, this is what Bud fans do. When Bud fans have to answer, listen. When Bud fans have to answer a question that is not suitable to them, they talk about someone else. We're not talking about Floyd ducking. We're not talking about Floyd ducking Paul Williams. Floyd has fought so many champions. Floyd has fought so many champions. We can't even talk. We don't even have to talk about Paul Williams.
That's just irrelevant.
No, but we're talking about caliber.
You asked me a question, I'm going to answer it. You asked me a question, I'm going to answer it. Now, okay, Bud beat Victor Postal. Let's talk about Victor Postal real quick, right?
Okay.
Hold on, let me finish. I'm going to finish real quick. Okay, one thing I hear with Spence fans is, like, when I've been like arguing them in the comments, well, you know, Spence beat Lamont Peterson, or Lamont Peterson was a good fighter. I'm not saying he wasn't, but Lucas Matisse was the first fighter to stop Lamont Peterson at 140, right? So the Iceman fought Lucas Matisse in a fight that people thought the Iceman was going to lose. He stopped Lucas Matisse, took his WBC belt, and in the very next fight fought Bud Crawford, an undefeated fighter. Crawford beat an undefeated Victor Postal. So
Bud was the underdog.
I'm gonna ask you a question. Let me just ask him a question to the Postal fight. Now, who beat Lucas Matisse before Victor Postal beat him?
Danny.
You said who?
There you go. Before Postal beat exactly. So you're making it seem. Hold on, no, because what you did was you talked about Lamont Peterson fighting him doing that. Lucas Matisse was already beaten.
I can't hear y'all. If I go out, can I come back in? If I go out, can I come back in?
I got you.
Yeah,
let me make this point. You cannot. Yes, Lucas Matisse had an L, but Victor Postal destroyed me. Victor Postal made Lucas Matisse never been the same ever after that fight. Yeah, he lost to Danny, but that was a good tough fight.
Yeah, but you don't think the wear and tear from Danny could have done that?
No, but wasn't Postal?
No, because he stopped the undefeated Lamont Peterson after that Danny fight, bro.
Yeah, hold on, and dig this. Who did Lamont Peterson beat?
And David Abanesian right before
there you go. There you go.
David Abanesian also beat Shane Mosley.
So
also beat Shane Mosley. Say that.
So here's my thing though.
He beat Shane Mosley.
I think it's smart for Bud Crawford to take the fight because it's a money fight and it's keeping his name in the news and people won't talk about it. It's a big money fight. He's getting $10 million for that fight. Whether we as fans like it or not, I can understand it. I don't care for the damn fight. But he's getting paid $10 million for it. So that's it's a steep thing. I look at it as this, right? It's better for him to take this $10 million fight and knowing that they're gonna circle the block and negotiate again.
Give them leverage.
Opposed to them trying to negotiate hard and he start taking a fight and he really don't lose, and then he's not gonna get that $10 million from BLK Prime.
No, listen, that's cool, and that's business. That's business.
But I think from a business sense, it's all good. I'm not worried about the fight personally.
Hey, brothers, I wanted to make a point about Victor Postal though. So when Victor Postal, after Crawford beat him, when he went on to fight Josh Taylor, who was an undisputed champion, and he fought a lot of people. I thought Victor Postal actually
beat Josh Taylor.
I thought Victor Postal actually beat Jose Ramirez. But my point is, those two unified champions struggled badly with Postal, and Crawford beat him easily. So what I'm saying is that's a great win because you got an undisputed champion who struggled with Postal and Crawford didn't struggle. That's a great win.
It's about styles though, right?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that's Crawford's best performance in the ring. Him beating Victor Postal, because
Oh no.
Postal was the way they promoted him and the way he was doing what he was doing. They made this was a scary guy at that point. I
Yeah,
remember
this
watching that fight and thinking, "Oh, this is a really good fight." He swept the rounds. That's a
He
clean
probably won
sweep.
every round,
is
bro.
it true that Danny Garcia abducted him too?
Yes, he did. He moved up. He left 140. Yes, he did. Him
Yeah,
Okay.
and
because
Adrian Broner.
and that
Broner.
was the
Let's keep it a buck.
thing about he was trying to fight Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia went up to 47 real quick from that.
So did Broner. He left too. He didn't
Yeah,
want to fight him.
so Postal was looking sort of like the boogeyman of the division, especially after he did to Lucas Matisse. So for Crawford to go out him and practically sweep him 12 rounds, knock him down, really beat his ass, is that you can't discredit Crawford win for
Listen,
that.
it's a good win,
But
but it's
that's the
like the
thing
brother
too,
said
bro.
before,
This, but
it's about styles. And listen, a win is a win, but let's not act like, because I've watched the Victor Postal fight many times. The fans booed most of the
All right,
fight.
can
Because it
I
was
tell you
such a
what Crawford
dominating
did that was
performance.
genius in
I
that
guess
fight?
so.
Can I tell you what Crawford did that was genius in that fight? This is when it be being like really knowing boxing comes into play. So Victor Postal, right, has really good footwork and a really good jab. Crawford negated his rhythm with the jab by using
Hmm.
lateral movement. It was a genius plan how he beat
Yeah,
Victor Postal.
listen, I'm not saying it wasn't. What I'm saying is, Terence Crawford is a versatile fighter. So when you're bringing up like a Matisse or these other guys that post off fight, it's about styles, right? So look, all kudos to that guy for Victor Postal. But Victor Postal, it was only really hot because of what happened, what he did to Matisse. This, like, when we look at Victor Postal, really there aren't a whole lot of big signature wins where we like, oh my God, this guy's a killer. It's like, oh, he knocked out the guy who we deemed as a killer at that weight
He
class,
was the
which was
boogeyman.
right, which was Matisse. But like I said before, when you look at these other fighters, like the great ones, like Floyd, like Roy Jones, like these guys early in their careers have fought multiple Victor Postals. They fought champions who were top pedigree, blue chip type champions. You
True.
know,
What
so
about the
and
Gamboa
all
win,
I'm
my
saying,
brother?
yeah, no, he gets his listen. He gonna get his credit for Gamboa. To
He should
me,
get credit for Sean Porter.
Yo,
Gamboa is his signature fight. To me,
fellas,
Gamboa is his signature fight because that's when it's like he
Kwame,
had a name and Terence
Kwame,
Crawford came on the scene and he did his thing and I gave him his respect.
Kwame,
Now,
Kwame,
what all I'm
Kwame,
gonna say.
Kwame. At 12 minutes, we packing it in. Like at 7, we packing it in, right?
Okay,
that's
All
a
right.
bet.
yeah,
All right, I'm gonna hop
yeah,
off, man. It was great talking with y'all brothers. Y'all take it easy. Peace and
No doubt,
prosperity.
peace,
no doubt.
peace, brother.
Yes,
Peace and
sir.
love. Peace and love, Kane.
All right, y'all take it
Peace.
easy, brother.
All right, folks. Appreciate y'all coming on.
Yeah, like I was saying, all I think is I'm just saying that at this point in time, I get that Terrence Crawford's getting the bag. I'm not mad at him. I'm just stating that he gotta take the heat and stand on all the stuff that he said about Earl Spence in the last couple years. Because the truth, when you look at the actions that Terrence Crawford has showed, it looks as if he's projected his own behaviors on Errol Spence because everything that he has talked about Errol Spence is everything that he has done now in the present within his
Like,
actions.
like
Hey,
what?
Kwame, real
I
fast.
think that PBC
Wait,
didn't think Bud had any
wait,
leverage. He had
wait.
nowhere
He
to go.
didn't.
Real
Oh, go
fast,
ahead. Go
y'all.
ahead. Go ahead.
Real
What's that?
fast, because I let y'all cook and people in the comments wanted to know. All right, so this is how it started. Crawford opened up with 22 million. This is what he wanted guaranteed. 22 million. Espinosa's offer was 5. It got all the way up to 8.5, which Earl Spence agreed to. But 15. Espinosa got up to 10. Bud would move off 15. Espinosa would move off of 10. That's how you got your no guarantee split-based deal. Because both of them would move off their guarantees. Okay, cool. Well, how about this? We offer you a percentage of whatever's made. All right, does everybody understand?
I appreciate that clarity.
Right, and mind you, there's nothing wrong with Bud wanted. There's nothing wrong with what Espinosa didn't want to spend because everybody has a point to where as though they're comfortable with. I can't tell a man what to pay. I cannot tell a man what to take. It's all up to the discretion of that man. But the narrative that he wasn't offered guaranteed money, the narrative that dudes was just trying to do him wrong because they didn't want to fight, that shit is not reality. That shit is false. Whatever
I never said that.
You decide to make as a man, stand on that. That's my only thing. Go ahead.
Okay, so thank you for that clarity. I know I said no guarantee, so he did get guarantee. I could say it. I just was giving my opinion, but based on that information, I just think that what Terence Crawford did was take that 10 million, make it somewhere else, and then they're going to circle the block. Is it a bad way Crawford went about and do it? I think Crawford kind of went about it questionably because he had that contract sitting for a minute. And I think that's something
that's not true either.
That's not true?
No, he didn't have that contract forever sitting on it. No.
He had it for 2 weeks.
I thought you were talking about the BOK Prime contract.
No, I'm talking about
he was negotiating with BOK Prime. What did he say, since July?
Right. He met them in July, and the contract came up a couple months later when
I just said negotiating with him. Once you have contact, you start talking numbers. That's negotiation. I ain't talking about contracts. I'm saying negotiation.
Right.
Hey, Candy Slim, I don't get my information from Earl, bro.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is,
no disrespect. I don't get my information from Earl. I get my information from the guys who signed the checks. Just gonna say that. Go.
Got you. Respect. So my point is that when Bud got back the revised contract, again, so when you send a contract and
an offer sheet,
hold on. So they had one contract out. Crawford didn't like some of the things, so he went back and asked them to put certain stuff that's on there. And then when he got the contract back with the things that he asked for on there, 9 out of 10 times, if you ask for certain things on contract, if you get an offer to contract and you don't like it and you want certain things to be on there, and then they send you back with the certain things on there, usually that's a done deal. That's usually a done deal because you getting what you asked for. So when he sat with that for a while and then took BLK Prime, that looked that left a bad taste in the mouth.
Because bro,
how do we know he got what he wanted in there? How do we know that?
It was never about what he wanted from PBC. I need y'all to
transparency.
If you got because it's not, bro.
I know what you're saying.
As men, we make moves based off of what's logical. And what's logical for Terence Crawford at that time, if you're going to offer me 10 million, that is around 400 to 500% above market value.
Yeah.
For that fight.
You're right.
If you are going to offer me that, and I know that I'm going to fight Spence.
A harder task.
In February 2023, okay, well, I can go there and get this bag, and we can make the Spence fight in April and May, and I can get both of them.
Or March. Why are we killing him for it?
Yeah, and that's the point I made earlier. I think Crawford was a logical move. I'm not mad at Crawford move because that's 10. I'm glad you gave the market value 400, 500 markup price. That's an easy brain money fight.
Right.
What other welterweight is getting 10 million guaranteed? Name me one.
This dude's making
guaranteed. I mean, not back end. Guaranteed.
The nigga Earl, yeah, man. Yeah. I'm not even an Earl Spence fan. Yeah, man. But what I'm saying is, he ain't getting 10 million to fight Avenesian.
Right.
He'll get that fight. He'll get that to fight Keith Thurman.
You a Spence fan, right?
Right.
But you gotta acknowledge he pulled one on Al. You gotta give it to him.
Yeah.
He pulled one.
Yeah, I mean, look, they
didn't think he had that.
No, they didn't think he had it. And look, I'm not. Look, I say this a million times. I don't have a problem with Terence Crawford did to feed his family. Look, if there's no one on this panel that wouldn't have done the same damn thing, and if they did, they would be a fool.
The Crawford's gonna have a good Christmas.
Right. The only thing that I'm saying, the only my perspective just comes from the heat us Spence fans took for 4 years about being fanagers and all this other stuff, and now as soon as Terence Crawford does it, it's like the narrative has changed on the other side. Now it's cool. So
okay, let me ask you this. Let me just ask y'all this, and I'm gonna let y'all cook. Okay, he fights December 10th, right? We all believe he's gonna stop this dude. We don't know when. If things go the way we think it's gonna go, it's gonna be a relatively smooth fight, easy fight for him. Potentially, it should be. Now they're talking about the fight for PBC is 2023. If they said we wanted to fight in February, if they pushed it back to March or April, what's the difference?
I don't give a flying fuck.
I think what
get this 10 million and get that too. Maybe they'll have negotiations.
I think the big
another thing. I think I haven't said too much over the last few minutes. Let me say this before I go. One thing I do want to say is this, man. Yeah, a lot of people are saying the numbers, speaking about how the numbers are bad with Bud and all these different things. But a lot of the same people that are saying that are the same people that are not supporting the man and buying his fights. I want to say this: if y'all care about Spence making good money or whatever, y'all want this fight to maximize the biggest revenue possible, why not support Bud too, since he's going to be a part of that big fight? So I think everybody should support that fight. If y'all so-called care about both sides or either side, you got to support both fighters. If this is supposed to be the biggest brand that we can get in this sport of boxing in our lifetime, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like at this point we need to at least come to that point to like, okay, we can spend $40 and support the guy. And then if we support this guy, it's gonna. I guarantee you, if they can see these numbers go up to our spending power, we can spend some money and support this guy, and he can go over there and fight Spence. That's a bigger payday for Spence and a bigger payday for Crawford, man.
And I'm a Bud guy, but I'm gonna buy Spence fight. If he fight, I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah, exactly. Likewise.
I don't have no problem.
I bought the Sean Porter fight. I even bought I bought the ESPN Plus subscription for a year that came with it. But I'm not buying this fight because I don't want to see the fight.
For $40?
I don't want. Let me say this since you said that, bro. Let me say this one more time. One more last thing. If you're not buying the fight, bro, I don't want to hear you say anything about Bud's numbers being bad. You have.
I bought his other fight. I bought his other fights. I have the right to spend my money on what I want to spend it on. I bought his other fights.
No, bro.
You know, listen. It's about value for me. I would rather spend my $40 on a free fight. I would rather spend my money on a free fight like Rivera versus Frank Martin because I don't know who's gonna win that fight. I'm not gonna sit up and spend $40 on a fight where it's a 10-1 underdog type shit. I'm not doing
Keith Thurman and the Keith Thurman fight with the dude that moved up. What was his name?
Barrios? No, I did not. No, I did not. I did not. No.
Rashidi versus Boots is not a thing. Hey, real fast, y'all, for clarity purposes, right? I'm going to buy the fight because I like boxing.
I bought it already.
Right?
I already paid for it.
Secondly,
same here.
For clarity purposes, I have talked to the president of Black Crown.
So they legit.
Yes.
And I heard Bud already got paid his money. What I heard.
More power to him.
I got to support my brothers.
Yeah.
Listen, I've said what I said. I'm a fan of both fighters. Hopefully I can't wait for they both get in the ring. I don't have no dog in this fight. I want Spence and Crawford to get the most money and make the best fight. That's my stance on this.
And I got a fire stick, and I still paid my money for it, bro.
I'll pay $99 for that fight if it came like that as pay-per-view. No problem. But me, I'm not gonna spend money on something that I don't think is worth it to me. That's it. Sean Porter, I bought Sean Porter.
You're entitled to your opinion.
That's your opinion.
You spend your money however you want to spend it. Me, I'm gonna buy it because
I'm supporting the black fighters.
It's a black-owned business, and my Mexicanos, they support the Mexicanos. Koreans support the Koreans.
We're gonna support the blacks.
Yep.
Facts.
And that's what we got to worry about. That's the thing. We need to stop worrying about
we all support
each other.
If we all support each other, then we're gonna get these fights that we want to see.
If you bought this cheap fight for $40,
if you're a Mexican, support Ryan. If you like Tank, you're a black guy, support Tank. Yeah, we gonna get these fights.
Okay, say if Bud did 300,000 buys on this fight, it will bring value to the Spence fight, bro.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the point,
$40.
man. That's the point.
Come on, bro.
I
Bro,
I
you
and
you
I
do that to
agree
a
with all
homeless
y'all. I
person, bro.
think that was a smart because if Spence could get his numbers up on this fight, it will definitely look good when
But
they circle back on the negotiations.
yeah,
Hey,
the only problem with that is the price of the pay per view and projected to what this guy's done in the past is going. I think it's actually going to make the negotiations even harder because
No,
people
it's
look at
smart
what you.
business.
I'm
Now
just
I'm gonna
saying,
tell you
people.
why. A lot of that had to do with Bob Arum too. That's why they have a lawsuit. So
hey, Dose. I'm cutting it at 7:05. So I'm gonna if you want to hop on, but at 7:05 I'm cutting it.
I'm gonna cut out. So whoever want to
Yeah,
hop
I'm about
on,
to
they
cut
can
out
hop on for
too.
last minute.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
good chopping
Salute,
it up with you
Jamil.
guys. Salute to all of y'all. Peace
Appreciate
and
it, man.
love.
Yes,
I'm out.
sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
peace
sir.
and love.
That's all I'm saying. You're right. You're right, YSM, man. Like I said, if it was an arrow fighting the guy I really wouldn't care for, I'm gonna support it because they saying that black fighters can't sell, and I don't believe that if we just support our
That's
own,
because we
bro.
so damn divided, bro, as people, bro. Like we so divided
Yeah.
to what
We don't need
we
this East Coast, West Coast. We don't need
yeah, it's
that with us, man.
crazy,
Let's
man.
just support the fighters, and the best person wins. I'm a bug guy, but if Arrow wins, I'm gonna give him all the praise, bro.
Likewise.
All right, so you know what my issue is with all that, man. I'm gonna keep it 100. Is this when Earl was about to fight Ugas, we heard too much of boycott this
That's true.
Ugas Spence fight. You feel me? But now that Crawford is about to fight this cat who we barely even know, now it's all need to kumbaya and support. Now I'm about to fight. You know what I'm saying? Because I've always bought Crawford's fight. But my issue with all of that shit is this. It's like Crawford cannot say why this fight isn't happening. It's just too much. It's now if it's that he wanted to go get the bag from Avenesian, that's cool. Let's keep it like that. But with all this lack of transparency and all this other shit that was made up, man, this shit seems weird.
That
Okay.
shit behind
How
us at
much
this
do you
point,
think he
though.
can
It's
say
about what's
to
next,
sever
bro.
ties to where
Pay
he
for the
would never
fight.
be able to do business with them, bro? He can only say so much, bro.
You said what
Bud
now?
can
Say it
only
again.
say if he just trashed Al Heyman and them, the fight will never happen, bro.
But that's the thing. He isn't trashing Al Heyman. What
No.
he's saying is Al Heyman is charming and he's willing to go back to the table. So it's like, which one is it? This shit ain't making sense. If they're mistreating you, why would I want to go back to the
He's just
table and
not.
do
It's not that
business?
they're mistreating him. He's just not getting what he wants, and they're not willing to pay what they want.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
let me
all
ask
it
y'all
is.
this. Well, in the biggest fight in boxing, most people will agree is the biggest fight in boxing. Why both fighters can't get a guarantee, bro?
Hey, JR.
Yo.
Hey, do me a favor.
Yo.
Right? You go ahead and speak because I already talked about the guarantees. This is my man JR from the Boxing Source. You go ahead and cook.
All right. Could you repeat that question one more time? What that you said? In reference to the thing for no guarantee, right? Like whoever raised that question. Okay. We're dealing with someone in Terence Crawford that had his last fight against Sean Porter, who was managed by Al Heyman. So when they talk about a fight between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence, the people that manage Errol Spence were the same people that managed Sean Porter. So they know the numbers that Terence Crawford has produced for that particular fight and also the fight against Amir Khan. So when they do that, and that's where you have the thing with Tim Smith talking about they didn't want to make the offer to insult him, is because they already knew the numbers that he was getting for those fights. So if you want to negotiate to where your value is, you got to understand who you're negotiating with. They already know what your numbers are. So they're giving you a more realistic number because they've seen what you've been doing. And they're not going to overpay for a product that's not giving them good returns. So that's where that whole thing started. Now, when it eventually broke down to how Jamil broke it down to when it became an $8.5 million guarantee offer to Crawford and he wouldn't budge at 15, and then the final thing was 10 and he wouldn't budge at 15, they said, hey, look, we'll just wipe it to where it's no guarantee. So the very first pay-per-view that's purchased for Spence versus Crawford, it goes to the fighter. So if it's like one pay-per-view buy, 100 pay-per-view buys, 10,000 pay-per-view buys, 500,000 pay-per-view buys, it goes straight to the fighters. It doesn't go to the networks. So with that, they knew that projected that they would get a good amount of pay-per-view buys for that particular fight to where it's over 350 or 400,000. That's probably their projected thing for that particular fight. So given that, That's where they say, okay, we're going to be making this for the pay-per-view revenue. We're presenting you with that particular offer to say, hey, this is what you could make if we don't give you a guarantee up front. If he accepted it, then he would have signed the contract, but he didn't sign the contract. Now, the other thing about Crawford saying, hey, he wanted to get off a fight this year. My question to that is this. If you were set on having a fight this year, then you should have had a specific cutoff date for the negotiations with Spence if you wanted to have a fight this year. Because your last fight was November. You had April, May, June, and July to try to get a fight off while you were quote unquote a free agent. And you didn't do that. So
well, he was
still
actually
dealing with Top Rank,
talking
bro.
to.
No,
He was talking to BOK earlier this year, though, right? So
July.
I think he already had something lined up.
But which is it though? Not to cut y'all off, but which is it? Was he talking to them and negotiating, or was he just?
But
or was he not?
Right? Because Crawford said that hey, he started to talk with Spence and Haymon back in May or June or whatever he said to Mike Coppinger and ESPN or whatever he said on IG Live. If you make that statement, then those were a good amount of months before you even had a fight, any type of fight of any sort. If you wanted to have a fight lined up, you could have fought anybody. It didn't even have to be a Vengeance. It could have been anybody. You could have had that done and out of the way before going into this thing here with Errol Spence Jr. If you didn't want to have that fight with Errol Spence Jr. this year, fine. You could go ahead and fight somebody else. But don't go through the negotiations for whatever it's May or June, July, August, September, and still not have something done if you're adamant that you want to have a fight done this year.
Okay, well, what about the counter offer that said the fight wasn't going to be until 2023?
No, but people keep bringing that up.
Hold on. That particular question, like I was saying, if you know that you've been going through that many months without the fight with Errol Spence being done, then you could have had that particular part of the negotiations cut off and tried to pursue a fight.
But do you think he knew how long it would have took?
Who? All the fighters on PBC.
What they were trying to do was they were trying to have that target date of November. So they wanted to try to make all of those terms be done by that particular time. But if you're going back and forth with Terence Crawford, who isn't really agreeing with the guarantee, of course that's going to make negotiations longer than they expect.
Hey, quick question, right? If all the girls go to one club, right? Are you going to be at the club with no girls?
Yeah, I like how he cleaned that up.
Yeah, because I was about to say
I like
something.
I like that.
Okay, YSM. I'm gonna go to the club with the girls, but what I'll ask you this: if we gonna do a job, right, and we gonna do the best job and the biggest job that we can do, but we know what, we're not gonna pay you up front. We're gonna pay you based on some potential. We know you got families and kids to feed and wives to take care of and all of that, but we're not gonna pay you nothing guaranteed. We're gonna see at the end. Maybe we'll pay you on the back end. You might get this in 2, 3, 6 months. We ain't gonna give you nothing guaranteed, but we know this is the best job that's gonna be thrown, the best party that's gonna be thrown anywhere in the country. It's gonna be the best party, but we're not gonna give you no guaranteed money. We're gonna give you a potential pay when we don't even know when you're gonna get paid for that. Bro, you're not gonna do it, bro.
No, but isn't that about selling yourself? Isn't that about selling yourself, though?
Bro, I want guaranteed money when I got 6 kids.
You ask me a question. I'm a son of an entrepreneur. I always take the points because bosses aren't guaranteed anything, and Crawford wants to be a boss. He's constantly talked about, I'm a boss. Errol Spence is not his own boss. I'm a boss. I'm a boss. I'm a boss. Bosses aren't guaranteed anything. Bosses are not guaranteed a salary. You eat what you kill.
I disagree.
No, that's
Al Haymon gonna get his cut regardless.
Al Haymon's cut is not even guaranteed.
Bro, he gonna get his cut before the fighters do.
Al Haymon's cut's not even guaranteed, bro.
He gonna get his money before the fighters do, bro.
Can I piggyback? Can I piggyback off what you're saying, YSL? Can I piggyback? Here's the deal. Here's the deal. If you're a boss, you also are prepared to take losses. As an employee, no, you want a set guaranteed amount, whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, or annually. You want your money. period. But as a boss, you're gonna lose money.
But bro,
as
if
well
you're
as
not putting
gain.
up your own money,
No.
you're not a boss.
Why, Sam, can I ask you a question?
Well, I wanted to answer.
I want to ask, are we putting any stock into what Eddie Hearn just said, right? No guarantee. What do you say? Fury and Joshua didn't have a guarantee.
I don't
Big
believe
fights
that.
like that. Big fights like that. It's believable because it's happened before.
Mm-hmm.
Big fights like that. They're allowing those fighters to sell themselves to generate what they can actually make in a pay-per-view, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if Terence is not going to take what they originally offered him, why couldn't he go sell himself? That's one part. Why couldn't he sell himself? Do what he's doing now, right? Because he's talking more about Spence than he is his own fight.
That's what they're asking him. They keep asking him about Spence, bro.
No, he's adding more to it. He's adding
more
to it.
I wanted to go back into that whole thing about when you're talking about the club scene and whatnot, right? So if you know about somebody like an event promoter or whatever it is that has done events, multiple events with like say multiple artists, and they've been very successful, right? So they have a track record of having successful events. You're coming in there as someone who's brand new, and you look at what they're doing and you see that they're having successful events. You would have more trust in doing something at that particular venue because they're going to be able to do the job to make sure that your event is going to be successful. That is what's going on here when you have someone with the track record of Al Haymon, when you have someone with the track record of Steven Espinoza that have done multiple successful events over the past 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years.
Not with Errol Spence, with Canelo and Floyd.
Yes,
with
he
Canelo
has.
and Floyd. That's
Yes,
a different level,
no. That's not how that works.
If you look at it objectively, JR, though, right? Mm-hmm. Probably the main reason why Terence Crawford wants a guarantee is because historically his pay-per-views hasn't gone the way that he wants.
Right.
Whereas though, and I'm not telling you that that's not a logical response, but I think it comes down to the ideologies of both guys and the experience of both guys. Mm-hmm. Just give me 1 second, y'all, and I'll break this shit down. All right, so Terence Crawford starts off with Cameron Duncan and Chris Menendorf in the sense of their, to my knowledge, there was a lawsuit in which when he signed with Bob Arum that they got 8% of his purse as long as he's with Top Rank. Okay. Then he had the situation with Top Rank where he feels as though he wasn't promoted in the way that he deserved to be promoted. And so he ended up suing Bob and leaving Bob. Okay, let's look at the contrast. Errol Spence. Errol Spence has been with Al Haymon since he got out the amateurs. And everything that was promised to Errol Spence, Al Haymon delivered on. And so you have the ideologies of both guys being completely different. Terence Crawford looking at it like I've got fucked at every turn. So I'm not going to trust anybody. With Errol Spence, I trust my guy because my guy delivers. I feel like that's what's keeping this fight
right
from happening.
And he is an Al's guy.
He is an Al's guy. Now, it's a valid point.
Yeah, now I feel you. And the thing that I was like talking about over the past few months when this particular fight was potentially being talked about, I didn't necessarily want Spence and Crawford to be next because I wanted Terence Crawford to have at least one fight within that particular, format to where they say, hey, this is how we do things. This is how this works. And once this gets pulled off, you see how much money you get from doing it this way. Mm-hmm. So once he sees that and he sees how much that he gets from doing that instead of having, what Cameron Duncan or Bob Arum or anybody else taking that from him, then they'll say, hey, this is a good little deal that I got going on. Now let's move to Errol Spence, where I see that I could make this much money having this particular fight. But since, like we said, it's going straight into that fight, you're going in there fresh off of getting a guarantee. That's what I expect for every one of my fights when I haven't been doing it the way that, Errol Spence has been doing it.
Business
so it's
models.
a clash.
It's a business model clash.
Yes. And fellas, I gotta go. I really appreciate you coming on. It was a really, really good conversation, good topic. I'll go live more because shit, it's it was like 160 people in there, and it seemed like everybody wanted to get their point off. But I do agree, it is a business clash. It's two different ideologies, two different experiences. Al Haymon dudes trust Al Haymon.
Well, not as much anymore, but yeah.
Shit, I can't tell. anybody that I've ever talked to, man, they swear by.
I got a question for you, Washington, real quick. Why isn't there no PBC fights in the last quarter here, man? No big fights. I mean,
the budget. The budget gets
renewed. So
it's
a money issue.
I said, wait. The budget gets renewed at the top of the year, and a lot of times there really isn't a lot of big fights around Christmas per se. It's not really a money. It's not really a money time for other events. Christmas gifts, you got your baby mamas, the whole nine. But he's giving you a bunch of fights at the top of the year. Aren't you happy?
So no. So what I'm saying is, it was never really realistic for this November 19th.
No, that date was real.
No, that was real.
That date was real.
Oh yeah. Let me tell you.
If the money wasn't there, how was it real?
No. You asked me why.
I'm asking. I'm not.
You asked me. No, the question that you asked me was why wasn't it a bunch? that's the original question you asked me. Why?
Right. You're right.
And I said for that particular reason, there really isn't. Like, you look at Joshua. Is Joshua coming back in December? No. It's a lot of guys that's not coming back in December because normally there's not a lot of fights.
Right. Okay. Because Wilder did tank on that pay-per-view, correct?
I don't know. I didn't see.
It said something like 75,000. I
don't trust numbers that don't come from my sources. First rule of journalism.
What did he do? What in your room? What did they say he did? And I mean, I'm asking. I don't know. I like Wilder. It's one second.
I've never asked. Gotcha. But November 19, was it real? Yes, but they got past that point. They wanted to do a world press tour, and it just didn't work out that way.
Was it ever possible when the negotiations got serious? Was that tour ever really possible? I'm asking. I don't know.
I would say, like, what was that date? Oh shoot, what was Danny's fight date? July something?
July 30th was my birthday.
Yeah, July 30th. Yeah. So that was pretty much around that target area of when they were trying to solidify that deal between Spence and Crawford. Because if they did that, then they would have had the ample time to promote, have a full camp and everything, so that when November 19th jumped off, everything would have, fell through. But once that fight wasn't agreed to at that point, that's when things started to spiral, to where they're like, okay, it's not going to, at least it wasn't going to happen November 19th. And because it wasn't going to happen November 19th, it wasn't going to happen in 2022.
So do you think it needs like 3 months? This fight will probably need at least 3 months of promotion, correct? I'm asking. I don't know. Y'all the expert. You the expert, YSL or Jamel?
Shit. Honestly, the guy you talking to is the guy that took me out to my first event.
Okay, 3 months. I mean, if you're gonna do city to city tour, 3, 4, 5 city tour to promote, it would take at least about 3 months.
Honestly, I would say 3 months would be safe because now the fighters can't train while they're on their press tour.
Right.
Mm-hmm. If they do 4, what do you think, Jay? Like a 4 city press tour, maybe one in the UK,
cities. Maybe 3 months.
Texas, Dallas. New York, LA, that'll probably
at least 4 cities, right?
Yeah, but sometimes it could be 3 or 4, depending on like how much they want to spend towards that part of the thing. So I would say about 3 cities. Like you won't want to get, especially in like US, you would hit New York.
How many did Mayweather versus Mayweather versus?
They went to the UK, I think. Was that Pacquiao? I didn't go to UK. I might have been.
So, but I know like Mayweather, Canelo, they were in DC. They were in I think they were in like Vegas and then somewhere else. I think in Texas or something.
Yeah, so let's say 3 to 4 cities would make sense. But fellas, I gotta go, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate the love. Thanks for everybody in the chat for showing your support. Buy Terence Crawford's pay-per-view.
Mine's already bought, man. I bought it today. Bought it.
Yeah. Shout out to BLK Prime. Shouts out to Al. Shouts out to Espinosa, Oscar, Ryan, everybody involved for getting that fight done, man. YSM, we out.